The golf world suffered a major loss with the death of Lee Elder. Folks, he, of course, was a tremendous force in the game of golf. Not only was the first African-American to play in the Masters, he also broke the color barrier in the Ryder Cup, making the 1979 American squad and going 1-3-0 in the United States 17-11 win over Europe. He won 4 times on the PGA Tour. In addition to that, he was a source of pride for many golfers and someone who they reached out to for advice and counsel. This year, he joined Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player as an honorary starter at the Masters for the first time. Health issues prevented Elder from hitting a ceremonial first tee shot, but he was recognized for his accomplishments.
Lee Elder is the first black man to compete in the Masters, and in doing so, blazed a trail that will inspire the game of golf and future generations of players. We are delighted today to have with us a number of black golf professionals who are proud members of the PGA of America. They undoubtedly were inspired by Lee Elder and his message that the game of golf belongs to everyone. Today, Lee Elder will inspire us and make history once more, not with the drive, but with his presence, strength, and character. Lee, it is my privilege to say you have the honors.
And this was the tribute video posted by the PGA Tour on their social media accounts.
Yes, in the middle.
Lee Elder to stand on that first tee is a wonderful recognition, but let me tell you what actually transpired. Jaime Diaz approached me and said, look, why don't you phone Augusta and see if they would consider this? The chairman of Augusta thought it was a very good idea, and I thanked Augusta National for doing the right thing. And I'm so pleased for Lee, just to be on the first tee and create some new history for Augusta.
Lee was the first black player to play at Augusta. It was really nice of Augusta to turn around and honor him and have him be part of what we're doing.
I think it sends a huge message that times are changing for the black culture, African Americans, just minorities in general. That was a huge statement from Augusta, having Lee with Jack and Gary, who are obviously the 2 biggest legends of the game.
Joining me now is Jeff Champ, family friend and father of professional golfer Cameron Champ, who you saw in that video there. Renee Powell, the LPGA, PGA head golf professional at Clearview Golf Club from Canton, Ohio, as well as a journalist and fellow golfer Roy Johnson. Glad to have all 3 of you here. Renee, you get honors to share your thoughts about Lee Elder.
Well, you know, I have known Lee for a long time. We first met when I was actually a teenager. Played a practice round with him in a golf tournament in Miami. We have the same year won the UGA National, and then actually went on the tours the same year back in 1967. He on the PGA Tour and me on the LPGA Tour. He, over the years, has just been a great friend, and I was so stunned to hear of his loss last night because I just talked to him about within the last week, he called me and said that, hey, I've got something I'm really excited about, something that a project the two of us can do together next year during the at the time of the U.S. Open. So he was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to talking to him after Thanksgiving, and things happened. But Lee was there. His attitude was always the same. He was a gracious person, and I know I was so happy to be able to be sitting on the first tee in Augusta this year when he had the honor of being one of the starters. It was something he looked forward to for a long time, and it's really sad when you lose a good friend.
Jeff Champ, I had the honor of leading the Q&A between your son Cameron Champ and Lee Elder last year, March of last year, at the MAC Invitational. Lee couldn't attend in person due to COVID, also because of health reasons. We knew he had been battling some serious issues, but you often talked with him, and he often shared insights with your son Cameron, who's now on the PGA Tour.
Yes, you know what? I got to meet Lee, and I got to meet him at the Masters actually. But in 2020, we invited Lee to come out to the MAC Champ Invitational to be the guest speaker, and COVID happened, and in 2021 he was actually the guest speaker because you were the MC there. But just to meet somebody like that, our family never had the opportunity to meet Charlie Sifford, Pete Brown, Calvin Pete, Ted Rhodes. And my dad passed, and I said, we have to find a way to meet Lee. And it's amazing how I just did some more homework on Lee, and Lee actually went to Manual Arts, a high school in Los Angeles where a bunch of champs went at Martin Luther King in Vermont. So he's a great man. I got to spend this summertime with him. Was at his birthday back in July. And, God bless him. And I just want to say thank you so much for paving the way to give my dad a chance to play this game. And now my son's playing this amazing game.
Lee was, of course, native of Dallas, Texas. We had a great time with the Q&A, and I literally got back yesterday from New Orleans, and I was actually looking for that video. So Jeff, y'all might have to send it to me again because I wanted to re-air it. And it was a great conversation, him regaling us with stories of being on the PGA Tour. Roy Johnson, you a fellow golfer. You spent many years at Sports Illustrated, and of course, talking to many athletes, and Lee Elder certainly was a groundbreaker.
Roland, on days like this, it is easy to think about the unique and sort of twisted, complicated history that African Americans have had with the sport of golf. Of course, every sport refused to allow us to play for a certain period of time. But with golf, it was a little different. Certainly, they had a Caucasian-only clause on the PGA Tour up until 1961. But at the same time, they allowed us to caddy. They only allowed us to carry bags. So it was different than baseball and football, where we really weren't on the field at all. It was a tease. Golf teased us by allowing us on the field, but not allowing us to play. Of course, there's the United Golf Association, the UGA, which was a ground for the development of a lot of black golfers, including Lee Elder and others, and they were able to utilize and hone their games just as blacks were in the Negro leagues and other leagues. And so it's important for us to recognize that in this particular sport, not only were we excluded, but we were treated in a way that was really second class. And so to honor someone who was groundbreaking, who was a pioneer, who endured things similar to Jackie Robinson, similar to Hank Aaron, the hate mail, when he won his first tournament and qualified for the Masters. The leader of that tournament had to run onto the green and put his arms around him and lead him off and take him in protective care to the clubhouse for the interviews because there had been so many death threats. There were death threats in Augusta at the Masters, where he had to rent 2 separate homes and move back and forth between them in order to try to elude folks who might want to do him harm. So I think it's important to recognize not just what they accomplished in being the first, but what they had to endure to get there, to be there, to just swing the club, something you and I and other golfers may take for granted these days. It was a great honor. I never was able to meet him, but I did meet Charlie Sifford and, of course, Tiger Woods. And at one point, you may remember this, Roland, I was the golf editor of Sports Illustrated. So think of that, to come from Tulsa, Oklahoma, to someday be the golf editor of Sports Illustrated at a time when golf was still having a very complicated relationship with African Americans. I started covering sports in 1978, just 4 years after Lee Elder stepped to the tee at the Masters and played those 2 rounds before not qualifying for the final weekend, but being cheered all along the way. So, as a sports writer, I honor him and give him his due for the role he played even in my journey and the journey that we all should acknowledge as we step up to the tee, as we do our jobs, as we are able to go about our lives, certainly still with challenges, but knowing that those who came before us endured a lot more.
I first met Lee, Renee. It was an NAACP golf tournament at the Roland Image Awards years ago in Los Angeles. But in 2015, my buddy Wendell Haskins, he has his Original Tee Golf Classic, and he actually paired Lee with Amari Avery, a young sister who is a tremendous golfer who is headed to play golf at USC. Again, we're sorting out our video, but I found this on YouTube, and actually someone was shooting video, and I'm actually in their video while me shooting. And this was Lee, of course, teeing off on the first tee with Amari. And I actually, and it's driving me crazy because we had some video that was stolen out of a bag, and I still have some video, but I actually played that round with Amari and Lee, and it was great to be in the cart with him, his wife, us talking golf over 18 holes. You know very well what Roy was just talking about, how difficult it was for black folks beginning on the PGA and the LPGA Tour, what that life was like, what was really about.
Well, you're absolutely right.
And it was not easy at all.
It was back in 1967. So while he had a challenging time on the PGA Tour, I also had a challenging time on the LPGA Tour. The big difference was, though, that the LPGA never had a Caucasian-only clause that they had to break down. But just being out there and at least during the I know in the 70s there were few more.
I think Renee, hold tight 1 second because we're losing your signal. 1 second, Renee, we're losing your signal. We're going to get your signal straight because it's breaking up there. So y'all let me know when we have Renee fully back. Jeff, I want to go to you. How important was it to have a Lee Elder share words of encouragement with Cameron and other black golfers, and for them to be able to talk to him and know him and his history?
It was so powerful, just to see all the brown and black kids, in a room together, and to hear what Lee went through, and Lee's a character, and all the perseverance and everything that he went through, is always going to help these young golfers. And one of the things, including Cameron, we were always the only blacks at a golf tournament. And so to hear it from Lee, and then to hear it also from us, and telling these kids, and to have that many kids at one golf tournament, 108 brown and black kids, it was just amazing, And Lee told me he was coming back again this year. He's coming back, and so God bless him. And again, I want to give my condolences to Sharon and the entire family.
Do we have Renee's signal fixed? All right, Renee, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was saying is that, you know, we all had challenges back in those days, and certainly Lee met those challenges, and to be able to watch him come through it all, to be able to watch him at Augusta this year was absolutely wonderful.
Roy, when we think about Charlie Silford, I got a chance to meet him when he was celebrated here with the Medal of Freedom here in D.C. When you think about Teddy Rhodes, when you think about James Black, you think about, I mean, all those cats. I remember talking to James and meeting Calvin Pete and them talking about what it was like to be on tour, and they had to travel with their pots and pans and cooking for each other because they couldn't go into restaurants. Feces being placed in golf holes, so they reach down and grab their ball, having to deal with that, and just all of the indignities just to be able to play a game. And so when I love when people talk about the greats of golf, or the greats in any sport, and I always say, frankly, anything up until the mid-'70s should have an asterisk next to it, because the black athlete did not have the same opportunity. And so when you hear these greats, the reality, we talk about who won X number of majors and X number of tournaments. Well, the black folks had the freedom to be fully free Americans and play in the NCAA and play college football and basketball and golf and these sports. You may very well be talking about a Charlie Silford or Teddy Rhodes or a Pete Brown or a Lee Elder with multiple major winners and far more wins if they did not have to deal with the reality of being black playing.
Oh, there's no question, Roland, that every sport should have an asterisk to it for anything that transpired before the 1960s, because of that, what you just absolutely said, because it was not a level playing field. It wasn't even a field that we were allowed to participate. When I think about what the athletes that you mentioned in golf endured, I think about cooperation, camaraderie, and endurance. I mean, the camaraderie and cooperation they had to have with each other to lift each other, because they were all going through these unbelievable circumstances that too many have forgotten about. And I'm glad today that we have the opportunity to remind people that it wasn't just about playing the game. It was about enduring and surviving, even more so than maybe some of the people in team sports. And again, this is, and Jeff could speak to this, this is an individual sport. We're at the end of the day, the beginning of the day. It's just you on that tee. You don't have a team. You don't have team. You don't have teammates. You don't have coaches. It's you and that tee and that golf course. And so the fact that they had to endure that they still went on to perform at the highest level. Most of them, by the time they got to the PGA and got their card, were past their prime. So we didn't even see them really in their prime for the most part. But that's because they were excluded until 1961. So the fact that they were able to support each other and still endure and prosper at the highest level of the game is something that should be remembered and not forgotten as we teach.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?